ஆழ்வார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், எம்பெருமானார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், பிள்ளைலோகாச்சாரியார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். Pillailokacharya mercifully gave us Mumukshupadi, the comprehensive Grantham explaining the Rahasyatrayam. These were explained in a oral tradition until then, except for a few Granthams which were available on Rahasyatrayam. Pillailokacharya, out of his great compassion, documented in great detail the meanings for Rahasyatrayam, that is Tirumantram, Dvayamahamantram and Charamashloka. So we have started going through the meanings for this wonderful Grantham with the help of the detailed Vyakyanam, commentary of Manavada Mamunigal. We have seen up to the 40th Sutram. The current section is dealing with the meaning for Tirumantram. Pillailokacharya starts explaining the meanings for Tirumantram. First he explains the meaning for Pranavam, and then he will explain for Namaha and then Narayanaya. In Pranavam he is starting with Akara. The Pranava itself can be seen in Samhitakaram, Asamhitakaram. Samhitakaram means saying it together as a single word, single letter. So Pranavam itself is seen as single letter, single word with single meaning. That is Jivatma being a servitor for Paramatma. In Asamhitakaram, when it is split further, it gets split into three letters: A, U, Ma. Akara, Ukara, Makara. Of these three, we have started seeing these sutrams where Pillailokacharya explained the meaning for Akara. So he is explained that as the letter A is the origin for all the words, all the sounds, and as Bhagavan is the origin for all entities in this world, Akara represents Narayana, Bhagavan, and it is also the short form. Akara is the short form for Narayana. That is also explained in the Mumukshupadi Grantham itself. So this is Akara is explaining about Bhagavan, Sriman Narayana, who is Sarvarakshaka, who is the protector of all. That was the 35th Sutram. In 36th Sutram, he explained that protection means eliminating the hurdles and granting what is desirable. So that was explained in 36th Sutram. That is Rakshakam, that is protection. That is the quality of Rakshakatvam of Bhagavan. And in 37th Sutram he explained that this protection or Rakshakatvam will be according to the state of the Atmas. So each category of Atma is in its own, in his own situation, and Bhagavan will protect according to the requirement of the Atma. And in 38th Sutram, Pillailokacharya explained what is the Virodhi and what is the Apekshitam, that is what is the hurdle and what is the desire for samsaris, that is worldly people, and then for mumukshus, for those who are desirous of moksha, for those who are in Paramapadam, muktas and nityas, this apekshitam and virodhi are explained. For samsaris it is said that shatru, pida, etc. are hurdles, enemies and sufferings. These are the hurdles and they want that to be eliminated, and their desire is just food and drinks and clothing and comfortable life and so on. For mumukshus, the samsara sambandham, the relationship in this material world itself is the hurdle, and for them the desirable aspect is Kaikaryam to Bhagavan in Paramapadam. That is the desire for mokshus. For muktas and nityas, any hurdle in performing Kaikarya, that is the enemy, that is the hurdle, Virodhi, and increase in Kaikaryam is their desire. Of these, it is easy to understand the hurdles for samsaris and desire for samsaris. Similarly, it is easy to understand hurdles and desires for mokshus. But for muktas and nityas, the concept of hurdle is a little bit difficult to understand, because after going to Paramapadam, there is no real possibility of one committing any mistakes in Paramapadam. But due to the greatness of Bhagavan's beauty and how attractive Bhagavan is, sometimes that attractive nature itself can become a hurdle in our Kaikaryam, in our service. And the example given by our acharyas in various places is Sumitra telling to Lakshmana, Sumitra giving advice to Lakshmana while going to forest. She says, don't look at Rama's face. If you look at Rama's face, then you will be distracted and you will not be able to engage in Kaikaryam. You are going to forest to engage in service for Sri Rama and Sita Pirati, Perumal and Pirati. When you get distracted with Bhagavan's divine form, then you will not be able to perform service. So in Paramapadam, the same example can be superimposed and understood. There is the scope for Nityasuris and Muktas to become attracted in Bhagavan's divine form and just get distracted from Kaikaryam. But while the scope is there, it will never occur, because Bhagavan is the protector, he is the Rakshaka. He will ensure that our Kaikaryams go uninterruptedly, without any interruption. Because after going to Paramapadam, if there is hurdles and if we will become a victim of our own liking or our own desires, is out of question in Paramapadam. Because the Paramapadam, Vaikuntham, is a pure abode. Only after completely purifying the Atma, Bhagavan takes the Atma to Paramapadam. So that scope is there because of the greatness of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is so great that it is a possibility, but he being the Sarva Rakshaka, he is also the protector for Nityas and Muktas, and he will ensure that one will not fall into that trap, and one will continue the Kaikaryam without any break. So that is a little bit difficult concept to understand, so just wanted to give some clarification on that. And then in that 39th Sutram, he explained that other than Ishvara, Bhagavan, there is no other Rakshaka, protector for us, and Pillai explains that he has already given enough details about this concept in Prapanna Paritranam. Prapanna Paritranam is a beautiful Rahasya Grantham by Pillai, and he has explained this in great detail already. So one can study that Grantham and understand this greatness, and Bhagavan being the only protector. Now 40th Sutram was where we started seeing about Sri Sambandham. The connection between Bhagavan and Pirati is inseparable, and Pirati is always available with Bhagavan. And that is explained because whenever Bhagavan is protecting anyone, whenever Bhagavan is giving liberation to anyone, at that time Pirati's presence is very much required, because Pirati is the one who does Purushakaram. Purushakaram means one who recommends to Bhagavan on behalf of the Atma, Jivatma, who is surrendering. She pleads to Bhagavan that take a look at this Atma, he is surrendering unto you, you have to protect him. Because he has taken the path of surrender, there is no other option for him. You have to protect him and you have to accept him. And that suggestion is given by Pirati, and Bhagavan has no choice than accepting that suggestion, because Pirati is very, very dear to Bhagavan. He cannot refuse her words. So because of this intimate relationship between Bhagavan and Pirati, and Bhagavan expects Pirati's presence during his protection, it is explained that in this Tirumantram, while we look at Akara, this letter A, we have to see that Sri Mahalakshmi Tayar is implicitly present in this letter. So that was explained in this particular 40th Sutram. So we have seen up to that. I just wanted to recap that a little bit, and now we can proceed with the next set of Sutrams explaining Akarartham. 41st Sutram, Mamnigal gives a beautiful introduction. He says how the presence of Sri Mahalakshmi and the connection with Mahalakshmi is seen in this Akara based on the words of a trustworthy person, because while we always go by Shastram, we always have to also consider the words of trustworthy people, our Acharyas, Purvacharyas. And here Mamnigal gives the introduction saying Pillai is quoting one such comment from a trustworthy person to emphasize the connection between Pirati and Bhagavan, which is inseparable. And he starts saying, the Sutram starts with Atra, 41st Sutram, Atra Bhagavat Senapati Mishrar Vakyam, Avan Marbu Vittu Piriyil, I Vaksharam Vittu Pirivadu. So here, Pillai Lokacharya is saying that when Pirati leaves Bhagavan's divine chest, at that time she will also leave this Aksharam, this Akara. Here the implicit meaning is Sri Mahalakshmi is never going to separate from Bhagavan's divine chest. She is always going to be present. Hence, we have to accept and understand that she will never leave from this Akara. She will always be present in this letter Akara. So that is the simple meaning of this Sutram. Let us see Mamnigal's Vyakhyanam. So here Mamnigal is saying Jnanadika Sri Senapati Jiyar. There was an Acharya named Senapati Jiyar. He is a very knowledgeable Acharya, and he mercifully said, as Pirati said in Thiruvaimozhi, Nammalvar's Pasuram, Agalagillen Irayum Endru Alarmel Mangai Uraimarba. In that Pasuram, Agalagillen Irayum, those two words, Nammalvar is quoting Sri Mahalakshmi Tayar. Nammalvar is saying, Pirati will say, Agalagillen Irayum, I will never leave, even for a moment, a fraction of a moment, from Bhagavan's divine chest. So that is Pirati's words. Nammalvar is quoting that, Agalagillen Irayum, Endru, she will say, Pirati will say, and stay in the divine chest of Bhagavan. And then the Pasuram goes on. So in that Pasuram, Pirati is always with Bhagavan is established. So based on this particular Pasuram, only when she separates from his chest, from Bhagavan's chest, we can say that she will be read separately from this Akara. So the meaning is, she is never going to leave Bhagavan's chest, hence she will always be implicitly indicated in this Akara. So that is the commentary, brief commentary for this particular Sutram. So Pirati's inseparable nature with Bhagavan is established here. Next is 42nd Sutram. Here in this 42nd Sutram, Mamnigal gives an introduction to make this principle very firm, to explain this principle in a firm manner. The Pirati's relationship with Bhagavan, who is indicated by Akara, A, and Atma, who are all indicated with this letter Ma, Makaram, to indicate the constant relationship with both Bhagavan and Atmas. For Pirati, Pillai Lokacharya is explaining this principle with an example, starting with Bhartavinudaya. That is the Sutram. 42nd Sutram is Bhartavinudaya Padukkayayum Prajaiinudaya Tottilayum Vidade Irukkum Matavai Pole. Pratama Charma Padangalai Vidade Irukkum Iruppu. So this Sutram, Pillai Lokacharya beautifully explains, just as a wife, a Stri, a woman, she will not give up the bed or the mattress on which her husband is resting, lying down, and she will not give up her connection with the cradle on which her little toddler is resting. She will hold on to both the mattress on which her husband is resting or lying down and the cradle in which the baby or child is resting. She will stay in the middle and she will hold on to both of them. Similarly, Pirati, Sri Mahalakshmi, is holding on to Prathama Aksharam or Pradamapadam, Pratamapadam and Charmapadam. Pratamapadam is Akara, Charmapadam, last word is Makara. We have seen that Akara is a letter and it's a word on itself as well because it has a particular meaning. So it is considered as a word as well. Similarly, Makara is a letter and it's also a word. So Pirati, Sri Mahalakshmi Tayar, is holding on to both Akara and Makara. She is always connected to both of them. That is the simple meaning for this particular Sutram. Let us see Mamnigal's commentary. Pirati, being a Sheshabhuta, that is a servitor to Bhagavan, to give pleasure to Bhagavan, she will never leave the bed of Bhagavan. That is matching her Swarupam as a servitor to Bhagavan. She is generally said as Vishnu Patni, Asyeshanam Jagataha. She is the Lordess of all the entities, but she is a servitor of Bhagavan. Asyeshanam Jagataha Vishnu Patni. So matching both the nature, both the Swarupam of Sheshabhuta, that is servitor to Bhagavan, is revealed by holding on to the Bhagavan's bed or Bhagavan's presence, and her nature of being the one who guides all the Atmas to Bhagavan, she protects them in that manner. So she is also not giving up the connection to the Atmas who are all her children. Jaganmata is how we address Pirati, Mahalakshmi Tayar, and Bhagavan is the Pita. So in this particular example, all the Atmas are children of Bhagavan and Pirati is holding on to both Bhagavan as well as all the Atmas. So matching her servitude, she is holding on to Bhagavan to give pleasure to Bhagavan, and matching her nature of being the protector of all the children. Naturally, mother is the primary person who cares for the children. So Pirati, being the Jaganmata, she is also holding on to all the Atmas. In this manner, Ishvara, Bhagavan, is represented by Akara, and Atmas, who are all Chetanas, they are all represented by the word Makara or the letter Makara. So having relationship with both the entities, both Bhagavan and all the Atmas, she is holding on to both of them. So that is the nature of Sri Mahalakshmi. That is her merciful, compassionate nature, where she cares for all the Atmas, at the same time being the Vallabha, that is very dear consort of Bhagavan, she is also giving pleasure to Bhagavan. So that is explained in this 42nd Sutram. 43rd Sutram. Now Pillalokacharya explains this using another example, another practical example, a live example. The example which was given in previous Sutram of being a mother and who cares for the children as well as who cares for the husband, that's an abstract example. Now a real example is given, and Pillalokacharya explains this principle of not leaving both Bhagavan and Atmas with a real example, starting with Sri Nandagoparayum Krishnanayum Vidada. 43rd Sutram. Sri Nandagoparayum Krishnanayum Vidada Yashodai Piratiyai Pole. So she is like Mahalakshmi Tayar is like Yashoda Pirati. Mother Yashoda was caring for Krishna as well as Nandagopa. So just as Pirati is caring for Atmas who are her children and Bhagavan who is her husband, we can see the same in a very visible way in Mother Yashoda caring for Krishna as well as Nandagopa. That is a simple explanation. In the commentary, Mamnigal brings out beautifully the Pasuram from Tirupavai. Ambarame Tannire Sore Aranjayam. In that Pasuram, first Andal Nachiyar is waking up Nandagopa, and then he is waking up Yashoda Pirati, and then she is waking up Krishna. So here it is shown that Yashoda Pirati is present in between Nandagopa and Krishna. So this example can be seen on how a mother protects her children or child as well as she cares for and she gives joy to her husband. So similarly, Pirati is caring for the children, Atmas, as well as giving pleasure to Bhagavan. So as said in this Pasuram, Ambarame Tannire, as Yashoda Pirati was present in between Nandagopa and Krishna, here Pirati, Sri Mahalakshmi, is present between Bhagavan and Jivatmas, and that can be seen in this Pranavam also. Akara is Bhagavan, Makara is Atmas, and she is in between them. As part of Akara, it is also said that she is explained in the Ukara, but we will see it later when that Sutram comes. But in any case, she is present in Akara itself with Bhagavan. So being present in Akara, she is giving her presence there, and she is giving joy to Bhagavan, and she is caring for all the Atmas as well. So that is 43rd Sutram. Now 44th Sutram, an interesting question is posed by Pillalokacharya, and he himself is answering that question. Now in this particular Pranavam, directly if we see the letters Akara, Ukara, Makara, it is saying that Jivatma is exclusively a servitor of Bhagavan. So when that, in that Vachaka, in this particular word, in the letter, in the particular Pranavam, though there is no explicit mention of Pirati, how can we say that the Atma is also a servitor of Pirati? Bhagavan and Pirati are always together and Atmas are their servitors. While surrendering, Bhagavan is the Upayam, Pirati is the Purushakaram. This is a very important concept to understand. Pirati is Purushakaram, Bhagavan is Upayam. After surrendering, we have to serve now. Now while serving, we have to serve to Bhagavan and Pirati together. We cannot serve them independently. We have to serve them together. But how can this be proved? That is the question here. In the Pranavam, there is Akara, Ukara, Makara. Explicitly only Akara points to Bhagavan. We have said that implicitly Pirati is there. But there is a question, now why should the Atma serve Pirati? Is there any proof for such requirement? That is the question. And Pillalokacharya explains this starting with Oruvan. 44th Sutram. ஒருவன் அடிமை கொள்ளும் போது கிரகிணிக்கு என்று அன்றே ஆவண ஓலை எழுதுவது ஆகிலும் பணி செய்வது கிரகிணிக்கிறே அதுபோலே நாம் பிராட்டிக்கு அடிமையாய் இருக்கும்படி. So very nice practical example Pillalokacharya has given. The simple meaning we'll see. This is talking about appointing some person as a servant in a home. While appointing someone as a servant, that person will not be appointed as a servant for the lady of the house. The contract will be made between the man of the house, the head of the family, and the servant. There will be a contract made saying that I will work for you for this amount of salary and so on. But in reality, the person will be actually doing the chores which are given by the lady of the house, the wife of the man. The man will appoint the person as his servant, but he will go away. He may go out to do whatever his activities are, but the servant will now be listening to the words of the women in the house, and she will be guiding, go get the provisions, go clean the entrance, and so on. Whatever things need to be done, the women will be giving all the orders. Similarly, we are also servants of Pirati. So this is a very practical example here. Let us see the commentary of Mamunigal. He is explaining the same thing in a little bit more detail. When we see in this world, when we appoint someone to work for us, the head of the house will put a contract having himself and the person who is coming to work there. But in the end, the actual contract is not made on name of the woman. It will be made on the name of the man. But the person, the servant who is coming, he will be always serving the woman. He will be listening to her orders and he will be engaging in all activities which she instructs him to be done. He or she, whatever the servant is, that person, they have to follow the orders of the woman of the house. Similarly, whenever we are said that we are servants of Bhagavan, Ishvara, it means that we are also servants of Ishvari, Mahalakshmi Tayar. So it is a natural thing. So there is no question about the individual being not a servant of Mahalakshmi. The individual is, Atma is naturally a servitor of Mahalakshmi Tayar also. So that is 44th Sutram. Now 45th Sutram, Mamunigal is giving the introduction here. Considering all the reasons which are explained in previous Sutrams, Pillalokacharya is repeating, re-emphasizing that the connection between Pirati and Ishvara is inseparable. Starting with Aga Pirithi Nilai Illai, saying that Aga Pirithi Nilai Illai, that is the Sutram, 45th Sutram, Aga Pirithi Nilai Illai. Pirithi Nilai Illai means there is no separate existence for Pirati and Perumal. They are always together. Bhagavan and Mahalakshmi, they are always together. Jagat Pita and Jagat Jagannatha. They are always together. So that is the sutram, 45th sutram. Now 46th sutram. Now in the next two sutrams, 46th sutram and 47th sutram, Pillalokacharya explains, he gives two examples to establish that Pirati does not exist separately from Bhagavan. She is always together with Bhagavan. He gives two examples in the 46th sutram, and in the 47th sutram he concludes that principle. Let us see those two sutrams. 46th sutram's introduction. This inseparable existence, or we can say the non-existence of Pirati on her own, is explained with two examples, starting with Prabhayayum. 46th sutram, Prabhayayum, Prabhavanayum, Pushpatayum, Manatayum Pole. So here Pillalokacharya is explaining that Bhagavan and Pirati are like Prabhavan and Prabhai. Prabhavan is sun, Prabha is his rays. The sun and his rays are inseparable. So Bhagavan and Pirati are like sun and his rays. Second example is Pushpam, flower and its fragrance. Bhagavan is Pushpam and Pirati is fragrance. So with these two examples, Pillalokacharya says that they don't exist on their own. They are always together. Let us see Mamnigal's commentary. Just as there is no separate existence for Prabha and Prabhavan, so we cannot see, for example, sun's rays can never exist without sun. Similarly, sun can never exist without sun's rays. They both exist always together. Maybe we don't see them together all the time. For example, sun is there, we don't see the rays sometimes. Or we may see the rays inside our room, coming into the room, but we may not see the sun because it is outside the room. So we may see it separately, but they don't exist on their own. They are always together. There is a connection between sun and sun's rays. Similarly, flower and flower's fragrance, they are inseparable. They cannot be separated. Now we can say this second example may be a little bit confusing for us. We may say that flower may become withered and it may lose its fragrance. In that case, what happens? So in that case, the flower itself has lost its nature. So we won't even call it as flower anymore. It is just a dead flower. Just like when the Atma leaves the body, it becomes a dead body. So the identity will not be there. Similarly, when the flower loses its fragrance, it will lose its identity as well. So only when the flower and fragrance are together, it represents a true flower. So similarly, Bhagavan and Pirati are always together, they are not separated. And Mamnigal beautifully quotes from Sri Ramayanam, Ananya Raghavenaham Bhaskarena Prabhayatha, Ananya hi Maya Sita Bhaskarena Prabhayatha. So these two are statements made by Perumal and Pirati, Sri Rama and Sita Pirati. During their separation, Perumal in one side and Pirati is in Lanka. Perumal is here and Pirati is in Lanka. At that time, they both say similar statements. Pirati is saying, Sita Pirati is saying, Ananya Raghavenaham Bhaskarena Prabhayatha. I am never separated from Raghava, Bhagavan, Sri Rama, just like the sun's rays never get separated from sun. And Sri Rama, Perumal, is saying, Ananya hi Maya Sita Bhaskarena Prabhayatha. So I am like sun and Sita Pirati is like sun's rays. We never separate from each other. So based on the words of Perumal and Pirati, we can understand that they don't ever separate. Similarly, prasunam pushyantimapi parimalartim jigatishu. In this it is said that Ishvara is pushpa and Pirati is parimalam, that is fragrance, by Parashara Bhattar. So based on this also we can understand that just like sun and sun's rays never separate from each other, just like pushpa and its fragrance, flower and its fragrance never separate from each other, Bhagavan and Pirati are always together. There is no separate existence for both of them. So that is 46th Sutram. And then 47th Sutram. Based on this principle of not having separate existence, Perumal and Pirati not having separate existence, Pillai Lokacharya is explaining that this togetherness, Bhagavan and Pirati being together, is what is very dear to all of us. The desirable goal for all of us is being explained here by Pillai Lokacharya, starting with Aga Icherti. That is 47th Sutram. Aga Icherti Uddeshyamai Vittadu. That is, this Serti. Serti means togetherness. Bhagavan and Pirati are together. This togetherness is very desirable for us. It is very apt to be pursued by all of us. That is the simple meaning. So here Mamnigal explains the contrary actually. He is saying, not contrary, he is saying the opposite view. That is, pursuing them separately, pursuing Bhagavan separately or pursuing Pirati separately is not desirable for us. He explains that with an example. If we separately desire for Bhagavan or Sri Mahalakshmi, how will that be considered? If we desire for Bhagavan alone without Pirati, then will be seen like Ravana and Surpanaka. Will be considered as Surpanaka. If you only desire, if you only pursue Bhagavan without Mahalakshmi, then we will be treated like Surpanaka. That's what happened in Surpanaka's case. She pursued Bhagavan, Sri Rama. She wanted to kill Sita Pirati because she thought that Sita Pirati is a hurdle for her to approach Bhagavan, Sri Rama. So, if we approach Sri Rama, if we approach Bhagavan without Pirati, we will be treated like Surpanaka. Similarly, if we approach Sita Pirati without approaching Rama, then we will be treated like Ravana. Ravana desired for Sita Pirati. He did not want to serve Bhagavan and Pirati together. He did not want to serve Sri Rama and Sita together. He only wanted to have Sita Pirati. Even though Sita Pirati was everyone's mother, she is Jagannatha, she had wrong thoughts about Jagannatha herself. So, if we pursue Bhagavan and Pirati separately instead of pursuing them together, we will be considered either as Ravana or Surpanaka depending on whom we are pursuing. But if we pursue them together, we will have glorious life like Sri Vibhishana Alvan. Vibhishana pursued Bhagavan and Pirati together. He helped Pirati when she was there. When she was in Lanka, he spoke in favor of her. He advised to Ravana that she should be sent back to Sri Rama. And eventually he went to Perumal and he surrendered to Perumal also. So, having favorable attitude towards Bhagavan and Pirati ensures that we will get a glorious life like Vibhishana Alvan. But if we pursue either one of them separately, then we will end up like Ravana or Surpanaka. That is Mamnigal's beautiful explanation for this 47th Sutram. With this, Akara is explained sufficiently by Pillai Lokacharya. He is going to explain further about Chaturthi. We will see that in the next session. Adiyan will inform when we will have the next session. Alvar Emberumanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download Koyil, Koyil app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, Koyil.org.